We gotta just standardize.
Yeah.
I don't think they ever will. It's too hard. It would take too much money. Think of all the textbooks that have to be rewritten.
They already rewrite textbooks.
There's got to be a real reason why they never do it. They talked about it when I was like in elementary school. I remember they're like, "Oh, we're gonna start teaching people the metric system because it's way smarter than what we did," and then they never did it.
I remember the thing that made me hate school the most. I went my whole school life thinking like microwaves, radio waves, gamma rays, all that stuff was like some special phenomenon. Each one was its own unique thing. And then eventually I finally saw like on Wikipedia a picture where it showed like each one was just a different frequency
Of a wave, yeah.
yeah.
And
They never taught me that in school. It's like, what in the world? Just give me a picture.
they left out like the most important thing to make
thought
you
these were all
understand what was
different-
happening.
Different things in
Oh.
the natural world. It's like, what? It's so simple.
I think of what annoyed me at school. I think just memorizing stuff that I knew was never going to be useful.
Polynumerals.
Yeah, when it came to math, there was a lot of math where I'm like, there's no way I'm ever going to use this. And then there's a lot of math that you use on the daily, you know, like the simple math. You know, you have to calculate.
Math was way better than like English. I loved English, but the teachers, it's so subjective.
True.
Every English teacher I ever had hated me, and I love writing. It pissed me off so much. It was awful. I hated
You
it.
must have wrote some bad short stories.
It was the worst.
The
It
teacher's
was-
like, I can't read another one of these fantasy stories of gems. This is like, no.
Well, it wasn't even just fantasy. Like it would just write. I was just everything I would write. They would be like, no, it's not written the correct way. I'd be like, what? Tell me how to fix it.
All right, pop quiz for you, Jem.
It's just their opinion.
Look at chat. Comma after Etho or no comma after Etho?
Ooh.
I don't know.
No comma.
I do comma, but I know you're
No
allowed
comma.
to do both.
Okay, the grammar is different,
Right.
and when they correct your grammar, that is something that's not subjective. Like there is a correct way to do it. It's when
You are
they're
allowed
like,
to do both, right?
Yeah, it's called an Oxford comma, and it is acceptable to do it either way.
Yeah. I
But-
think it looks
My
better with the comma.
English teachers always told me no comma.
I like it with
Really?
the comma, but I think the newer trend is no comma.
Really?
Yeah. Because, like, literally, Skiz and I got into, not an argument, but, like, we actually had this conversation, like, 2 days ago because we were filling out a description for our podcast. And I went in and I put the commas in, and he's like, I'm like, Skiz, you forgot the commas. And he's like, actually, it's not wrong. You know, we had the whole conversation. It's like, oh, he is married to an English teacher, though. So,
See, the reason I don't like it without the comma is because it almost looks like you're making like Pearl as a group, and then Etho and Jem would be another group. Right?
yeah, I feel that.
Because
I
they're
feel that way,
combined
too.
then.
grammar.
But if you have the comma, it's clear it's 3 groups.
I also like the fact that I just put that in chat and there's like 4 people on the server that are probably like, what? That's a random thing to say.
Hopefully they're watching this stream and know.
Or they record and it ends up in the video and all the viewers of the video are like, perfect. Oh, I love it. I love it. Anyway,
No,
this
that's
is
incorrect,
to
Jem.
thank you.
You gotta do capital I.
the grammar police. You thought the Popo were bad.
Ether, you
Wait
need
till
to
we get
come
the
after
grammar
your
police on the
good to
server.
know.
Oh man, now we're
Good to know, Impulse.
I
now
think
we're
you're right,
talking
actually, don't I?
top tier content, man.
Need a comma.
Seriously, no. Our conversation here has devolved into grammar.
I
get
said that
made
I
fun
hated
of
English class,
so
and you
much.
brought me right back. I hate it. It's awful.
This is why we hate it. Oh, man.
It's
We're
awful.
helping you enjoy it with all the good people.
Nope. Nope.
No.
For the longest time, I didn't understand why they put so much emphasis on learning history. Like, I couldn't grasp that as a kid. And I was like, why do I care about the Magna Carta? You know what I mean? Like, is that even what it's called?
Learn history. That's
Like-
how we got around that.
And I kind of understand now that, you learn history so you don't repeat it as mankind, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of good to know. And it's kind of good to know how things became the way they became. But yeah, I remember when I was getting taught, I was just like sitting the whole time like, why do I have to memorize the dates of Christopher Columbus and all this stuff? I didn't like it.
I like
Have
learning
that.
about history, but I hate learning like numbers associated with them because I can't remember. I'm actually interested in learning about the history of things, but I'm not going to remember dates to save my life.
I wasn't into it then. Like, I'm into it now. I think like now it's kind of cool to like hear about, the history of the world and stuff. But back then I just couldn't get into it. I was
I just
not
didn't
good at
like
it.
it because
No,
I had
no.
to learn numbers.
History's
Otherwise
pretty
it would've been
depressing.
That's true too. Yeah, not always a fun thing to learn about all the bad things that has happened in the past, but it is good to know so we don't repeat
It's
it.
never
right?
about the accomplishments. It's always about the death.
Yeah,
Right.
much like social media. It's like
Exactly.
what gets written is what's going to get people's attention more.
Sometimes, like the pyramids and that, it's about accomplishments. But other times it's like the big war.
Yeah.
I
School's
like learning like
great.
the history behind the really like the big sometimes like the big structures. Like sure, they weren't just made to look pretty. They could have had a deeper history to them, and I like learning about that.
And there's a lot of weird ones, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
everyone
right?
looks at one of the main things that everyone knows about is the Colosseum, and everyone looks at it like, wow, look at that big piece of architecture. It looks amazing. But man, there was so much bad in there,
Do you think it's haunted because of how many deaths there were?
Probably. I go there at night.
Do you believe
never
in
hear about
ghosts?
No.
Ooh.
Oh, I believe in ghosts. Yeah, but that was the no to you, Impulse.
We're currently
Do you
recording
believe
a
in
podcast.
ghosts,
apparently.
Impulse?
That is a tough question. Uh,
I've had too many things happen for me not to.
We got a yes.
I've
we
had
got
a lot. I've had a lot of things happen in my life that are unexplainable, and so I lean towards yes.
What about you, Etho?
Not at all.
Not a bit.
That's the exact answer I would expect.
Not a bit. Wow.
I would say there's a lot of things that are exaggerated in ghost stories, but I think there's like still, I don't know. I believe that there's some kind of thing left over after you die.
I think the people that
I don't
truly
think it's
believe they
true.
saw ghosts, it's explainable some other way.
I don't think you see them. Thing.
Or they have schizophrenia or something.
Yeah, brain playing tricks on them. I wasn't gonna go as far as like saying they were on drugs or anything, but and a lot of stuff too is produced. If you look at the Ghost Adventures or whatever shows you see on TV, like it's for clicks. They're faking everything probably. Jem, I don't know what you said. Did you say you did or didn't?
I used to work in a museum that I felt could be haunted, but I don't
More
know.
likely it just gave you the ick than it actually.
It was probably
Well-
bad plumbing.
I don't know how to explain it. There was no plumbing up there. but yeah, I mean it was probably nothing, but also it can be fun to believe in ghosts.
That's true.
I like to believe that something happens after you die. I don't know that it's ghosts, but I like to have a little bit of spiritual beliefs that there is something.
Yeah, with you on that.
I refuse to believe there's nothing after you die. There has to be something.
I fixed that.
Maybe it was last season.
Now my chat is discussing the proper order of dates. Date format. Like month, day, year. Admittedly,
American is month,
we
day,
do
year.
it terribly in the U.S. because we do month, day, year, and that doesn't make sense. The actual
There's no advantage to that anywhere.
yeah, the actual right way to do it in my mind is year, month, day, because that
That's how
puts it in
I have my
order.
computer set.
Yeah, that puts it in like actually alphabetical
My
numerical
computer's
order.
on your Monday.
It's so good for finding files.
Yeah, exactly. Anytime I name a file, that's the format I do. Year, month, day. That's how databases do it too. But yeah,
Canadians do day, month, year, though.
that
I
does
don't think about that very often.
Yeah,
How
that-
often do you fill forms with that?
that still works because you're going from like the lowest to the biggest. You know what I mean? Day, month, year. It's backwards in my mind still, but
Actually, that's a
at
good
least it's
point,
not
Jeff.
jumbled.
Like when we do forms, it's not that way, is it?
I can't remember the last
I
time
think-
I've even had to do a form with that.
I think we do month, day, year on forms.
I
that'd be-
honestly
that'd
feel
be
like
the
it
American
jumps
way.
back and forth. I don't feel like we have a way.
How do you keep track though?
think you're
Because
right.
like when you have like March 9th, you know, when you have
Is
a
it
3 and a
September
9,
or is
you're-
it March?
Yeah, exactly. Is it September 3rd or is it March 9th? Like how you won't know unless there's a little thing underneath
They
that
always
says it's
do
in
like
this
a
order.
DD or an MM above what you
Yeah,
fill
yeah,
in,
yeah.
right?
But anytime somebody just like posts a date, like in Discord or whatever, and there's like 3/9, I'm like, oh, this is coming from a Brit, so that's actually September 3rd. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is messy. Same with like initials, like your middle name. Always a big mess on forms.